Let's get the right mic selected. Now we got the right mic selected. I don't know why I'm not showing the video.
KC2 UVP listening.
Oh boy. One sec, folks. Gotta straighten out something here on the YouTube feed. Of course, the last show is going to have technical issues because that keeps things fun and interesting. How about now? Why is the camera? Is the camera not plugged in? One sec, I'll be back. Let's see. Mike lost his watch. There we go. Now we got the camera working. I apologize for the technical issues. But we are online now. Of course, the last net would have to have technical issues. Alrighty. Howdy, stepping back in time. Nice to see you. And hello, Neil. Good evening. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. The Sunday Night All Things Natural Net is an amateur radio net provided by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club located in beautiful Ulster County, New York, and dedicated to farming, gardening, ecology, and a broader scope of topics. This will be the last Sunday Night All Things Natural Net, so any further check-ins, please call now. Further check-ins.
KC2 UVP.
Hello, Geeky. How are you? We got Mike. Bob.
KD2 RFI.
This is W2NDG, Neil, in Highland.
W2NDG.
Followed by K2BHM, Jim in Saugerties.
K2BHM.
This is KD2 TLF, in the right place for once.
KD2
Yay!
Guy.
This is KD2 TQS, Ken Reinbeck.
Ken. Quite the turnout tonight. Alrighty, thus far the net recognizes KC2 UVP, KD2 RFI, W2 NDG, K2 BHM, KD2 TLF, and KD2 TQS. Any further check-ins, please call now. Alright, no further check-ins recognized at this time. We'll start at the top of the list. KC2 UVP. Mike, how are you this evening?
I'm just doing, Dougie. We're going to miss you sorely. And I'm just checking in just to make sure my radio's working. I know that's not true, but we're gonna miss you sorely. And this is a great net. 73 best of wishes, and I'll be sitting here just listening to everybody send you out the best of wishes. KC2 UVP, back to you.
Alright, thanks very much, Mike. Appreciate the well wishes and the check-in. Let's roll on down to KD2 RFI.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to figure out DMR or D-Star or Nextel or Cirrus or, whatever those things are. Those electronic things, I have no clue. I'll have to figure something out to keep in touch with you. It's, been a good net. I remember when we started out, all I knew anything about was honeybees, and now look, we've come all this way. I know all about honeybees. But anyway, CJ, we're definitely going to miss this net, so we'll have to definitely get together and figure out some other way of running a net or getting in touch with you on the regular. All right, KD2 RFI, back to net.
Well, thank you very much, Bob, and it was a real pleasure to see you today and hang out and play with your beefy chainsaws and just catch up. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the sentiments and well wishes. And we'll definitely get together and figure something out. We'll have to get DMR hooked up. And, don't forget there's also email and Skype and all these other technologies that are available. Although they're not amateur radio, they are a way to stay in touch. All right, let's roll on down to Neil, W2 and DG.
All right. Good evening, CJ. And a message from KD2CHE, the better half. She wishes you happiness and hopes that everything works out for you, and we'll hear you again. And of course, the same comes from me, and I will be poking at you for some ideas. I can tear down a computer and put it back together and reload multiple OSs and all that stuff, but when I start on something, I'm always at that I don't know what I don't know stage, and you've been a good teacher, and you may still need to be a good teacher for me, because I might have to figure out how to do this. So I haven't decided how I'm going to do things yet, but the idea of having some sort of live stream so we can capture some of the non-ham radio community at the same time, I think is a great idea, especially with all the people involved through Steve's organization that aren't hams. Might be a good thing to look towards. And at the same time, sometimes we gain more hams that way. So, all right. Interesting to see what comes up tonight. And hopefully some of those, that last chance information for what to get ready when things start poking through the snow. W2NDG, back to net.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for the well wishes from you and the XYL. Much appreciated. We can definitely work out something on live streaming. I don't know if you want to do that on a separate channel, or if you want to do that through my channel. I could even set you up with sort of an admin or super user account on my channel, if that was easier for you. I'm definitely glad to walk you through setting up OBS Studio, the streaming software, all that kind of stuff. It's really pretty straightforward, and given your area of expertise, it's not too bad. You just need to kind of understand how it all fits together. But I'm glad to go through that with you and help you understand that and get it set up. And yeah, we definitely should get one last look at the crocuses here. All right, let's roll on down to Jim, K2BHM. This is KD2 net control for the Sunday night, all things natural net.
Thanks, CJ. Good evening, everybody. Well, apparently Neil is going to try and fill your shoes, and it sounds like I'm going to be running back up. So if you notice, it's taking two people to replace you. Those are some big shoes to fill. So we're going to do our best and make you proud, and continue on in the OMARC way. Don't know what else to say. I mean, that's speechless. K2BHM.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate it. And hey, people start talking about filling shoes. I have this vision of cement shoes and sleep-window fishes. That's not good. I have no doubt you guys will be able to supersede anything I've done and carry it on another level. So I think you ought to have a little more self-confidence. You guys both have a tremendous array of knowledge, and I hope that you guys will carry it on and share it on as we've been doing here on this net for, I don't know, however long it's been, since 2015, I think this net's been active. Anyway, let's roll on down to Guy, KD2 TLF.
Thanks, CJ, and hello, everybody. I've enjoyed this net when I've been on. I haven't been on as much as I would like to. I have to confess that when I went from being a musician a year ago, I kept very late hours and slept late, went to bed late. And one thing that happened over the last year was I got into the habit of going to bed real early and getting up early, which it turns out I kind of like when it's not interfering with my work. So sometimes 9 o'clock was late for me, and I'm sorry that I missed some of the nets. But whenever I was on or listening, it was always fascinating. And
CJ, you bring out vested people and got them talking about interesting things, and you always had to have interesting things to say, and you have a lot of knowledge about a lot of things. That's a good practical knowledge. That's a very valuable thing that will serve you well and serve everyone around you well. So maybe we'll get some topic on the next round, but I just wanted to say that. Back to you, CJ.
KD2IIN Net Control, the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Well, thank you very much, Guy. I appreciate it, and I can completely relate to keeping very late hours and sleeping late. My schedule, actually, I'm up earlier and to bed earlier than I used to be, given my new thing. It was on at least Pacific time, if not several time zones past that, and now I'm pretty well calibrated to Pacific time. But no worries on that, and I'm glad to have imparted whatever knowledge I have, and glad to have you make it in here when you can. It's really nice to hear the kind words from you. Thank you. Let's roll on down to Ken, KD2TQS. I'm wondering if you got a cup of chai handy there, Ken. Titan, thank you.
Negative on the chai.
Thank you, dude.
Neil's
Thank you so
comment
much,
that
Titan.
you should hoist a
Wow.
mug. So actually, I'm experiencing an Irish winter
Thanks, dude.
at the moment. So coffee, the chai wouldn't go well with the other three ingredients. But pretty close. So special night. So special drink for that. I'm gonna kick back into clinical mode. In the system that I teach, we don't allow people to stay stuck in the past. So I'm gonna acknowledge everything that everybody's already said, which is accurate and true. But I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to getting you back connected, see how we can carry forward, and what's going to happen with that. Yeah, big shoes to fill, but people are working on that. So with that, back to Net.
Well, thank you very much, Ken. I appreciate it, and boy, I've really appreciated all your knowledge and insight that you brought to the net over so many times. Man, you always really bring a whole new component to it, and it's always appreciated. So, yeah, I certainly hope that you will continue to impart your knowledge. And I'm sure with all the technology we have, we can find a way to continue to propagate things forward. It's really cool you're having a drink. Actually, I'm going to have a couple of beers after this net myself as just a little bit of a send-off celebration with Kylie. So thank you for that. Looks like Neil's going to have some bourbon too. So hey, drinking party. All right, so we're at the bottom of the list, so let's just take a pause and see if there's any further check-ins. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. If there are any further check-ins, please call now. KD2SQO.
K2LD.
Bob. MQE.
KD2MQE.
Wow. Just turned out to be a huge net. Alright, the net recognizes 3 additional call signs, KD2SQO, Brian, I believe that is, K2LD, Bob, and KD2MQE. Are there any further check-ins? Please call now. Potato juice? Oh, yes. Vodka. Alright, no further check-ins recognized at this time, so let's go on down to KD2SQO. Brian, I believe it is. How are you this evening?
Doing okay, CJ. I'm checking in because I'm actually still stunned because I guess I just haven't been in tune lately that you're taking off. I don't know the details, but I wish you the best for sure. It's been great. I haven't participated as much, but usually it was like over my head, but I was a listener probably the other half of the time. And it's a shame that I only was able to hear this from the year ago when I first moved into Kingston so I could actually receive the repeater.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate it, and glad to hear you've been out there listening. Didn't realize we had some silent listeners out there. That's fantastic. Don't feel bad about it. I'm moving out west. I don't want to say too much over the radio at the moment, but I'm moving out west. I'm actually moving to another country, so I'm onto a new adventure. But I will definitely be in touch with all my friends here back in the Hudson Valley, and especially my radio friends. What else I was going to say? If you wanted to go back and see previous streams, you could always go back on my YouTube channel, The Farmacy Seeds Network, Farmacy, The Farmacy Seeds Network, and all of these streams, previous radio nets, are archived on my channel, and they're in a playlist. You can just look up the playlist for that. Hopefully that'll help you if you want to go back and check stuff out. With that, let's roll on down to K2LD. Bob. Did we lose him already? K2LD, Bob, if you're out there still and you haven't passed the radio horizon, hopefully we're catching you. I imagine you're probably mobile. One more try, K2LD.
Yeah, I'm here. The noise level is like incredible tonight, right around where the 805 is. How you being copied?
Oh, you're loud and clear here. No noise on this end, so you must be picking up that weird noise anomaly up that way.
Yeah, sometimes it's really quiet, and sometimes it's pretty bad. But even on the spectrum scope, I mean, it's just like a band of noise in this area. Anyway, I had to make it a point to get on tonight just to wish you farewell. Hoist a glass and. Hope you have very good travels and good adventures in your in the next chapter. And just tell you that we will miss you. And that's about all I got for right now. So I'll pass it on and back to net.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate the kind words, and I will be in touch, and I will be back to visit in the Hudson Valley probably several times a year. And eventually we plan to have land back here in the Hudson Valley. So I'm not going away forever, but I will miss all my radio friends as well. All right, let's roll on down to KD2MQE.
KD2MQE, hey CJ, David Newport. Well, ditto. I wanted to make sure I made it tonight because I don't make it every Sunday, and wanted to say goodbye. And this way, it's pretty weird, but. Yeah, just thinking about like stuff over the years on Sunday nights, and like sometimes it was all things natural, and sometimes it was kind of outer space, and lots of good times. And so I'm just thinking about all that. So yeah, just paying respects. Glad to be here with the gang, and maybe it'll head in another direction the next 20 minutes to see where it goes. But back to you, KD2MQE.
Well, thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it. And I rebranded this from the Hudson Valley Farmers and Gardeners Net to the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net because I figured the All Things Natural Net encompassed the entire scope of the universe, and therefore everything was on topic for discussion. So I'm glad you can appreciate that. All right, let's just take one more opportunity for check-ins here, and then we'll roll back through the list. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. If there's any further check-ins, please call now.
This is Paul, KD2IWZ.
Paul, no kidding. The net recognizes KD2IWC. Paul, how are you this evening?
I'm good, just noodling around in the basement, playing with my toys.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, glad to have you check into the net. All right, let's just make sure we didn't miss anybody. Any further check-ins, please call now. All right, with no further check-ins, we're going to roll back to the top list. KC2 UVP, Mike.
Hey, yeah, CJ, what a great dedication. I guess I'm dedicated to the manic part of inspiration. High, low, on, off. But what a great moderator we're going to lose. And don't worry, we're not losing you. We're just making you manic and going from East Coast to West Coast. Anyways, I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth from moment to moment, but thanks for your service, thanks for your camaraderie, and thank you for everybody else out here who puts up with my psychobabble. Back to you, CJ.
All right. Well, thanks for your always interesting contributions, Mike. And we always appreciate your 2 cents on things and your perspectives on things. So let's roll on down to KD2 RFI. Hey, Kyle.
Well, now we've made the full rounding gambit. All right, enough about CJ. No, it was definitely a good time there today, getting playing with those saws. And I just, every time I fire up that big one, I just love to hear it run. It's just amazing. It just reminds me of my old motocross days when those 2 strokes thumping. It's just amazing how deep that motor is sounding. So it's pretty cool. I absolutely love using it and cutting with it. So, but it's definitely a good assortment of saws. So get the job done, and I guess it's more than just getting job done. It's getting job done in style. But I hope to get out and get a little firewood cut this week, and at some point even maybe even take a peek at my bees and see what's happening. I know we talked about them momentarily, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure at least one of the hives is not survived, and there might be 2 others as well. But I really haven't looked at them. I got to really take a good look at them, see what's there, and possibly throw some food on them some of these warmer days. So kind of extend their cold season a little bit with a little extra food, and hopefully it all goes well. I know last week where I was talking, I said there's one term that, one saying they would present to us every time we reached a new milestone down at the ranch when I'm doing skydiving. So, like when you first get your license, or when you hit your 100th jump, or when you hit the 1000th jump, or whatever, that they have this certain saying. Unfortunately, it's not really fit to be presented over the ham bands, but I just texted it to you, so hopefully you get a kick out of it. Trust me, it's terms of endearment. All right. Other than that, I'll send it back to you. KD2 RFI. Back to that.
Comment: castor oil, bean oil, 2-stroke.
All right, hang on a sec there, Mike. And I have not got your text yet, Bob, but I'm looking forward to hearing it because I know you said you were going to share that. Yeah, that chainsaw was something else. That took me back to snowmobiles, and running that thing, cutting a log, felt a lot like feeling a snowmobile track hook up on good snow or ice, or feel your cleats hook up on ice. So I can totally relate. Although I never did motocross, it had the same tone as a large sled engine or a big bike engine. So thanks for sharing that. This thing was quite a beast. It was a pleasure to have a chance to run that and play with it. I just got your text. All right. So with that, we'll roll on down to Mike had a comment. So KC2 UVP, go ahead.
Does anybody remember pre-synthetic oil, the castor oil, the bean oil that you had to shake every time you put it in your tank just before you got on your bike for the 2-stroke? That's about all I want to add. I think our friend knows what I'm talking about. And it smelled like no other burn in the world.
I remember that from the days of being down at the old Rhinebeck Aerodrome. I do remember the castor oil smell, and yeah, it definitely had its own distinct odor. All right, let's roll on down to Neil, W2NDG. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net.
All right, and as promised, we have switched to bourbon. So, I decided to go with an on the rocks one tonight, so nothing fancy. I saved the Cooper's Daughter and the bottle of Nob Hill my son gave me for drinking neat out of my nice bourbon glasses, but just some Evan Williams on the rocks tonight. I thought I would tell you, I was thinking the other day when we were talking about Jerusalem artichokes, and I was telling you what was already growing here. I think I'm going to have a battle. I'm going to let the Jerusalem artichokes and the pokeweed fight it out.
Artichokes will win.
So, that was just one thought, was maybe, putting those where the pokeweed is, but actually I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep chopping that stuff back. So, I'm going to try to clean out the edge of the woods here, which technically isn't my property, but the guy who lives behind me doesn't really care. And I'm just going to keep pushing the mower a little further, and keep that stuff cut back. And then I think I'm going to drop some railroad ties right along where the property line is and throw the Jerusalem artichokes there. I know the railroad ties won't stop them. Nobody needs to tell me that. I have experience with these things from another life. There is no stopping them. But at least it gives me a demarcation line that I can mow to. Because if you keep mowing the sprouts, they do kind of stay away. So it should be interesting. But the trick will be to keep the pokeweed back. And I figure if I keep doing that for years, it will eventually stop trying. I don't know how many years that's going to be, but like you told me, there's taproots down there that are like, 130 feet down, living off of my well. So, I don't know if I'll ever get them out that way, but, persistence will get it. And as I push some of the trash out of the way that was piled back there and work my way a little bit into the woods and keep some of the brush from getting crazy, then I'll actually be able to harvest those chestnuts and those black walnuts when they come down this year. So we'll see how that goes. But, everything else will come. I'm going to be here a long time. I told my kids, I will eventually leave this house. And they'll probably be the ones that'll drive me out, or I'll just come out in a box. But I'm going to be here a long time. So, and cheers again, and really happy everybody else came to bid you adieu. And my timeout timer is about to hit. So I will drop.
Oh, that was a brilliant way to drop. I like it. Well, let's see. Let me just drop for a sec. Make sure I don't tone everybody here on the repeater. This is KD2IIN Net Control, the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Thank you very much for the sentiments, Neil. And yeah, I would say if you put the battle up, I would bet on the Jerusalem artichokes over the pokeweed any day of the week. I think Jerusalem artichokes will kick the pokeweed's butt, and I'd put money down on that if you want to do a little bet off air on that. Anyway, I appreciate the bourbon on the rocks, and I think that's in keeping with the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. So let's roll on down to Jim, K2BHM.
Oh God, how can I top that one? I'm not doing bourbon yet. I'm doing after midnight wine. Anyhow, yeah, CJ, you probably figured me out. I'm not a farmer or a gardener or whatever, and I would kind of lurk in the background and listen, and if things were kind of sparse, I would chime in, and we'd talk about raspberry pie. But that was very infrequently. More likely, I was sitting in the background listening because I had nothing to contribute, and totally enjoying the conversation that you guys were having on a highly technical level with biology and chemistry and physics and the whole gambit of things that is the science of gardening. It's very impressive. I very much enjoyed it, and most of the time you didn't know because I was too dumb to come up and say anything. I just didn't have anything to contribute. So really enjoyed your conversations, learned a lot. My wife and I would sit here mesmerized by your knowledge and everything that was coming out, and we're going to miss that. So, drop a second. Anyhow, definitely got to keep in touch. There's Zoom. You can always check in on the Wednesday meetings, so forth, and make yourself of presence known, and we definitely got to keep in touch. We can't let you go. K2BHM.
Titan, thank you. I definitely will stop in, and definitely don't say goodbye. We definitely will continue to be in touch. Paul, thank you very much for the well wishes. Paul Brown, much appreciated. Jim, well, thank you so much for the kind words, and yeah, I'm not going away forever. I will be back. I appreciate that you've enjoyed my knowledge, and you know, hey, sometimes that's what it's about. That's one thing I've learned over the years is, you know, to just listen when somebody has good knowledge, and not necessarily jump in. So I can appreciate that as well, and you know, my channel will continue even when I get out to the West Coast, and so there's always you know, another way of getting information. And along the lines of the club, my dues are paid up for 2021, so I will be into the meetings from time to time, and I will definitely be in touch with my friends here in the Hudson Valley. I mean, we are, after all, radio guys, aren't we? All right, let's roll on down to KD2 TLF guy.
Thanks, DJ.
Good night, Titan.
It's good to hear so many people came out tonight, and I'm raising my glass of wine to you and to this fine group. And because there are so many people, I think I will pass it back and not have anything to add right now. A lot of good stuff's been said, though, and you're a great guy. Back to you.
Very good, very good. I appreciate your toast, Guy, and after the net closes down, I will make sure to toast you as well. Thank you very much. Let's roll on down to KD2 TQS. Ken. KD2 IIN.
KD2 TQS. Hearing all the good stuff everybody's saying, filtering out most of it, and focusing in on you will be back. You will be staying in touch. Your channel is still up. So I'm just going to stay in that place. I like that place a lot better than the others. Besides which, floating in the reverie of the chainsaw, he left out the smell. I mean, there's something about feeling that vibration and seeing the chips fly, and just the odor of both the chainsaw, but also the wood as it's being pulped up. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And that is pre-boarding, by the way. You know, I mean, because you're getting it ready for the boarding, but it's not already there yet. So just tag in on that one. And then Neil chimes in with his battle, and my brain just went ballistic on that one. I'm going, ooh, that would be one I would want to see. But I think you're right, Jerusalem Artichoke would win. So, but Pokeweed's pretty darn persistent too. So with that, I'm going to go back to enjoying my winter and pass it back to Nat.
All right, very good, Ken. I'm glad you're picking up the message that I will be back. Appreciate that. And yeah, I'm with you on the Jerusalem Artichoke. The pokeweed is pretty powerful stuff, but that Jerusalem Artichoke lays quite the extensive network, and I've seen them just completely dominate an area. Along the lines of that battle, it made me think of something. I forgot to mention it before. Well, first of all, let me say, one of my mods here on the YouTube channel, Geeky Garden, says he's got some Mint fighting it out with Morning Glories, and he says that Mint is winning. I think I'm not surprised. Mint is pretty powerful in regards to that. But it made me think of, I have Japanese knotweed and comfrey and Jerusalem artichokes out here, and they're planted quite a ways apart, but they've been encroaching toward each other over the past few years. I'll be curious to see in 5 years who's winning that battle. I really wonder about the Japanese knotweed and the Jerusalem artichokes. Although the knotweed is definitely overtaking the comfrey for light. So all interesting stuff to consider. With that, let's roll on down to KD2 SQO, Brian. He might have jumped. KD2 SQO, Brian, if you're still out there.
Right, a little late, sorry. Just actually going all the way back to the response. It sounds like you're on an adventure in a sense, and we'll leave it at that. You're coming back, okay, that's cool too. Otherwise, 73, I'm gonna just lay low, and glad to have been here for some time at least.
All right, very good, and glad that you've joined us, Brian. And just good to hear from you, and we'll definitely be in touch. Let's see, I had a comment here from Geeky, also from Neil in the chat. The mint is in the front yard in a raised planter. He said it's insane. And then Geeky says, or Jack from Geeky Garden says, I did trim the mint back recently. The morning glories are dormant for a few weeks, so the battle will surely continue. With that, let's roll on down to Bob, K2LD. And 73's Brian will consider you secured from the net. This is KD2 net control for the Sunday night All Things Natural net. Now we'll turn it over to K2LD. Bob.
Okay, thank you, CJ. Yep, on Neil's prodding, I decided to do a bourbon on the rocks as well. Why not? I mean, it's a toast to a good cause here. And you really couldn't have left the net to two nicer people. So I think
so true.
You're going to be in good hands as far as what you left your legacy to. Thinking over the years of everything that you've talked about, I mean, this span of stuff is just incredible. And somehow with your sense of adventurism, I have a feeling that maybe on the Discovery Channel or something like that, we're going to see you mining gold out west. Just curious on your thoughts on that. Back to that.
I like that. And thank you for the toast. Mining gold, I don't foresee that in my future, but it's certainly a possibility. Definitely will be exploring all the different flora and fauna out there. That is a super diverse area that I'm going to be in. And I'm very much looking forward to exploring that. And Kylie also has the same mindset about that sort of thing. So we're going to spend the next year exploring most of that island together. And that's going to be a really fun adventure. Who knows? I may stumble across, mining for gold or prospecting for gold. We'll see where it all goes. I think that's a big part of the fun is, it's an adventure. Nothing is set in stone. And I'm sure there'll be lots of twists and turns in that trail. So. Thank you for that. Let's roll on down to KD2 MQE. David.
KD2 MQE. Hey, I have like a million thoughts, but one, I'm looking forward to Neil and Jim's show. That sounds pretty fun. And having taken a walk with Neil in the woods and him getting distracted about every 6 inches of something that was growing next to the walk. I imagine we'll get to keep some of the All Things Natural cooking. The other question I had is whether you're taking any of your rigs out with you, because I know you were running a pretty long wire and you were probably getting some pretty good propagation from here. So I'm wondering if we should be looking for you on HF or whatever. And one of the big mushroom documentaries was about a guy who was in that neck of the woods out there, and apparently it's a whole huge culture going on around that, and I mean, I guess it's everywhere, but I think especially around there. And if we come around to a next round, I have a spider question, but I'm going to leave it there and send it back to that KD2MQE.
All right, very good. Let's see. So HF radio-wise, not initially I won't be. I will be back at some point to pick up the larger portion of my gear. I won't have a place where I can really set that up until about a year or so from now. The place we're going to be in is in a more metropolitan area, and so due to HOA laws, basically, I won't be able to set up any HF gear. But in the future, I do plan to set it back up, and we'll be working the HF bands again for sure. That's a whole fun genre of amateur radio that I definitely will want to come back to at some point. So not initially, but eventually. And in the meantime, I definitely will be set up through DMR, and we'll be in the talk groups here and there. So definitely a connection. You had another question, and I sort of lost it in my head. So could you please repeat?
Nothing substantive. Mushrooms, and then just looking forward to Neil and Jim, and Neil. We'll be hearing from Neil and Jim plenty, so that they can take care of themselves after starting next week. But that's it. Back to you.
Okay. Yes, I definitely am interested in exploring more about mushrooms. I believe Paul Stamets, who is basically the #1 mushroom scientist in the world right now, is out in the Pacific Northwest. I'm hoping to have him on my show, Comrades and Farms, at some point, but if not, at least meet up with him, and if not that, at least check out what he's doing. So I definitely do have some interest in that for the future. So yes is the short answer to your question. With that, let's roll on down to KD2 IWC. Paul.
Thank you, CJ. The last time we spoke, you mentioned about moving west, and I guess now's the time. So you're going to be missed, and congratulations on your move. Somebody mentioned the phrase, "we're not going to let you go." That came out of the Sendak book, the Wild Things. We're not going to let you go. You have to stay here. You've created some monsters. But anyway, I think also I'm going to get myself a bourbon and join the crew. Maybe we should start a bourbon night. So I'll have some natural alcohol and toast you goodbye by the end of the night. Back to the net.
KD2 IIN Net Control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Well, thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. I appreciate the toast. And I fought a lot of vines in my life. I'll bet I can hack my way free from Not Gonna Let You Go. I got a tremendous amount of motivation to go where I'm going. So you're looking at a freight train going down the tracks. Anyway, let's see. That brings us to the bottom of the list here. And we're going to just take another opportunity for check-ins. This is KD2 IIN Net Control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. If there's any last-minute check-ins, so your call now. Yeah, it's a bourbon night, huh, Kai? All right, no additional check-ins, so we're going to go back through and do one last round through the list, starting with KC2 UVP. Mike?
I'm going to start out with a joke. No primate, including Tarzan, never lets go one vine until he has his firm grip on another vine. And that's kind of like where I am, regardless of where I am, but that's kind of like where I am. CJ, we're going to miss you, but the medals being handled well, we'll deal with it. And they got to deal with me, because I'm pretty much a loose cannon. Thank you, everybody. This is KC2 UVP 73 clear, and thank you.
Thanks, Mike. And Roger, keep your head low and stay in the trenches. All right, let's roll on down to KD2 RFI.
Alright, CJ, it's been a real pleasure getting to know you over the time we've been on the radio, and we talk face to face and whatnot. Definitely appreciate all your knowledge, and I guess I'll just tip one back to you for new adventures and brighter tomorrows. So congratulations. Looking forward to big things from you. Alright, keep it short and sweet. Wishing everyone 7-3. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon. KD2 RFI back in it.
Thanks so much, Bob. And yeah, I'm just going to turn it up when I get out there. You know how I do. And it's been a real pleasure, both face-to-face and on the radio with you as well. And we'll stay in touch. All right, let's roll on down to W2 and DG. Neil.
imagine I will make it out that way at some point. We have friends and family out that way, so we've been planning a trip to the Northwest. We'll have to see, but obviously there have not been much travel going on.
Yeah.
I made a couple of notes here of things I wanted to say for the last show. Let me just drop. First of all, yes, David did have another topic. He said something about spiders.
Yes.
So, I'm not sure what he was going to ask about. Maybe how they react to bourbon. I don't know. Specifically, I keep mentioning that we might have another way for you to connect in, and what it is Echolink, and it could be a subject for one of the Sunday nights. It's just an overview of the marriage of ham radio and voice over IP.
Yep.
I've always said that one of the things that brought me back to the prospect of getting a ham radio license, because I almost did so many times, but what actually made me do it this time was that merger of the two hobbies, and of course IT is also my career, and there's so much computing in ham radio now. It does make for a really good subject, but we hope to have a way for you to, even without the fact that the DMR is there, and it does give you a way to talk to us, just to, check into a net. I mean, that would be wonderful. I'm sure you'll have no problem getting up at the time zone difference for the 8:35. Anyway, let me explain the edibles thing that Dave brought up. Specifically, I found that Ferncliff was an amazing place to go foraging, at least off of the main trail. There were just so many things I saw. Not every place I hike is like that. I can walk pretty far sometimes without finding something really interesting, unless I really want to get down on my hands and knees and dig around and look for things. And usually I'm just walking, and I want to treat this casually, and that's how my foraging usually ends up, is that I'll just spy something interesting and either pick it or take a picture of it. But Ferncliff is an amazing place for foraging. I think possibly when Ken comes up, he may agree with me. It just seems that there's just so much interesting stuff growing there. So I do hope to get more into that as time goes on, now that I'm back up here. And, Jim, maybe we'll do a distilling and brewing night and talk about that. Maybe even try to get a guest on that actually does it. I've dabbled in it, but it was something worth poking around and seeing if someone with a ham license is into that. If not, depending on how we're doing our simulcasts and everything else, part of this event might actually be not on the repeater and video, but we'll see. I don't know how that's going to go yet. It's going to evolve. It's going to be interesting. And CJ, please check in. We definitely want to see you around. So, all my best. I hope I catch you on here before you head out. That's all I can say. And you've been part of the experience that really got me to jump back into ham radio when I moved up this way. So, not that I wasn't involved before, but this is a whole new level for me. Thank you, and you will be missed. W2NDG, back to net.
KD2 and Net Control. Well, thank you very much for the sentiments, Neil, and I'm glad that I helped inspire you. I didn't realize I was part of that inspiration, but I'm very honored to hear that. I know you're a man of many areas of knowledge, and I always appreciate conversation with you, so I will definitely not let that fall away. Regarding Echolink, I actually have Echolink installed on my computer, and we actually used to have an Echolink connection to the 805 machine, and I think the machine that did the Echolink connection is down at the moment, but at some point I'm sure that will be an alternative or option, or certainly could be discussed amongst the meetings, which I will still be part of. On the brewing thing, yeah, brewing's a great topic, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes along with brewing, just fermentation-wise in general. So I think that's an awesome topic. You definitely should discover that and discuss that more. And along the lines of foraging, yeah, Ferncliff Forest, I was really amazed when I saw you down there on the Summerfield Day. just how many things are like right along the trail there. I too have never seen so many such a diversity of forageable stuff in such a small area. So you're right, that's an awesome spot. Thank you for the kind sentiments, and we'll roll on down to K2BHM. Jim, this is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Yeah, that might work, Geeky. I meant to comment on that too.
Thanks a lot, CJ. You guys got my head spinning. Every time somebody comes up with a topic, I'm like, hey, yeah, okay, and then another topic, and wow, okay. It's going to be interesting. The last one that stuck was Neil. I did do home brewing for quite some time, and we kind of got into semi-home brewing with my cousin. He has cows, and Brown's Brewing in Troy does brewing, and they have spent grain they need to get rid of, and his cows love it. And so they've been taking what spills overboard that they would normally dump down a drain when they empty the hoses, and put it into a 5-gallon glass carboy, and we take the wort and just dump the yeast, ferment it, and go on from there, and do a semi-homemade. So there's lots of possibilities. I mean, oh God, who knows where this is going to go from here. We're going to have fun, and we have a big set of shoes to fill, but it's going to be fun doing it. So, anyhow, I'm going to miss you, but you're going to be around. So, you'll pop up when we least expect it. K2BHM.
KD2IIN, you know it, I'm that radio sniper. I'll be popping up and throwing RF out. Yeah, the brewing thing is interesting discussion. I remember you telling me about the spent grains, and it's interesting. You bring up drinking and everybody chimes in. All right, let's roll on down to KD2 TLF guy.
Not too much more to add. It's good hearing everybody's comments tonight, and I'll look forward to hearing about your new adventures, CJ, on your channel and on the net, and I'll look forward to that. And with that, I'll send it back. KD2 TLF.
Sounds good, guy. Yeah, please do follow along. We're going to be studying some really interesting ecology, not psychology, although that may come up as well. And we're going to be sharing a lot of that adventure on my channel, and maybe other channels as well as things expand and evolve. Looks like there's a lot on the horizon, so to speak. Let's see, I just wanted to pause for a second here before we go down to Ken. My friend Jack from Geeky Gardens here said they just launched another batch of Skylink satellites tonight. I said he didn't see him from there for some reason. He's down in Florida. So there must be some way to bounce radio off of those. And to that comment, there used to be Oscar, or orbital satellite carrying amateur radio. I don't know if those are still up. I think most of those are down. But with the DMR and the other new technologies that are out, it's probably those are probably easier options. Let's see. So with that, let's roll on down to KD2 TQS. Ken.
KD2 TQS, keep it short, but tie together 2 or 3 options. Agree, Ferncliff had huge amount of forages available. Excellent place to teach it from. Your comment about the knotweed, why be so derogatory about knotweed? It is incredibly edible. It can be prepared in numerous different ways. Yep. It's also fermentable. Gin and vodka. One of my friends made some of that from knotweed. Works very well. And it is quite medicinal as well. Believed to be highly effective against Lyme's disease and a few others. So knotweed carries a little bit more oomph than the artichoke, I would say. But with that, I'll pass it back to Matt and let others get a say.
Very good. Thank you, Ken. Yeah, I knew that this early spring shoots are edible. I know the roots are edible. I also know it's very high in resveratrol, and also excellent for combating Lyme disease, especially systemic Lyme disease. But I didn't realize you could brew something out of it, although I guess I should have come to that conclusion pretty much because you can brew something out of just about any plant. But thank you for the comments, Ken, and always appreciate your participation here on the net. You always brought so much awesome information to the net, so I hope you will carry that tradition on as Neil and Jim take over this slot. With that, let's see, Brian has already checked out and secured, so we're going to roll down to K2LD. Bob.
Great listening to everybody tonight. Looking forward to the future, and happy trails. I don't have much else right now as the bourbon is going lower and lower in that glass. So, happy trails. That's all I can say. And hope to speak to you again soon. Get that DMR going. K2LD.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Bob, and we'll definitely stay in touch. And it was great chatting with you and all our excellent conversations as well. So we'll be in touch for sure. With that, let's roll on down to KD2MQE. David, I know you wanted to ask a question about spiders or something, so over to you.
KD2MQE, we can save the spiders question for the next team. Nothing urgent there, but it's in the news, so I was thinking about it. And yes, it was Paul Stamets was one of the documentaries. There's at least two, and he was definitely most of one of them, and he sounds amazing, and all his whole thing sounds pretty amazing. And why he left the country is also kind of interesting.
Yes,
he
it
wasn't
is.
there originally. And yeah, otherwise just looking forward to foraging meets brewing. Sounds like a good theme for a while. And that's it for me. Have a good night, and looking forward to when we next get to see you. I don't know when that is, but I'm sure it'll be not that long. So back to you, KD2MQE.
Well, thank you so much, David, and greatly appreciate it. And yes, Paul Stamets, excellent speaker, educator, researcher, scientist, and down the list. At least one of those documentaries comes right off the top of my head. It's called Paul Stamets, The Future is Fungi. And if anyone hasn't seen that, go watch it. It's about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, and it is well worth listening to. Yeah, excellent. All right, so let's roll on down to KD2 IWC.
Thank you. Still here, drinking away, enjoying the evening with everybody here. And I did have one question. I've been grinding leaves into my lawn for a long time and throwing lime on top. And you had mentioned to me sometime that there's something else I need to add to it to make them break down quicker or better. If you can remember, what would that be?
Okay, well, good inoculants are always good. That's sort of a complex topic, but I would say switch from using lime to something called calcium sulfate. It's also known as gypsum. You can get it at Agway, probably at Adams, a number of other agricultural or gardening type supply places. It's calcium sulfate, and it has a lot more sulfur in it than lime, and that helps provide a lot of the catalyst for many other biological processes in the biochemical sequence of nutrition in plants, and that also equates to that similar sequences both in soil and soil biology as well as plants, animals, and humans.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome, and that brings us down to the bottom of the list at the end of the final round here. This has been the last session of the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Cheers to everyone who's toasted me, and thank you all for your kind words. I do greatly appreciate it, and I will definitely stay in touch with all of you, and I will see you guys in the monthly meetings via the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club via Zoom. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. A couple of announcements. Every day at 8:35 a.m. and 6:30 p.m., the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club runs the OMARC Daily Check-In Net. It's just a good net for people to check in, say hello, share their day, and see what's going on, and connect with friends. On Thursday nights at 8 p.m., Dave, K2JLV, runs the Thursday night net, and that is a more amateur radio-oriented net, although it goes into many technical topics, and excellent discussion is always had there, so I encourage you to check that out. And this slot, the Sunday night All Things Natural Net, will be taken over by Neil, W2NDG, and Jim, K2BHM. So tune in for that whenever that net pops up. I don't know if that'll be next week, but definitely come in and check that out. With that, let me just close this up. This has been the final session of the Sunday night All Things National Night here on the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club repeater, the 146.805 megahertz repeater with a PL tone of 103.5 and a negative shift of 600 kilohertz. Thank you to all my friends for your participation and support. It's greatly appreciated. I hope everyone has a great evening, and this net is being returned back to the radio community for regular amateur use. 7-3s, everyone. KD2 AAN, signing clear for now.
KC2 UVP, CJ, you missed a comment in there just on the last button.
I missed a comment. Thank you, Jack, for sharing the portal. Appreciate
Might
it.
have been me, K2BHM.
We'll go ahead.
It wasn't me, CJ. It was just amazing timing. It was a double. My bad. KC2 UVP 73 and salute, etc., and be looking forward to stay connected, whichever works.
Roger that, Mike. Well, we'll stay contacted/connected. 7-3s, everyone. KD2 IN will be clear. Thank you, everyone who followed the YouTube stream.
K2BHM, I was just curious if you referenced the chips and could have been satisfied by sheetrock.
All right. You could do sheetrock, but you'd want to burn it down to get rid of all the impurities. So it's easier to just go buy some gypsum. It usually comes in pellet form, and it's a lot easier to spread and a lot less work and hassle. But yes, the same stone compound in there. It is a small world, Jack.
Thanks. Couldn't leave without a bang. Good luck, CJ. Thanks for everything.
Cheers in 73, Jim. All right, KD2 IN's clear. I'm going to go have a beer. 7-3s, everyone. All right, thank you, everyone who listened on the YouTube stream. Greatly appreciate it.
Craft beer.
Didn't get your call.
Anyway, thank you, everyone who watched and listened. Thank you for your participation. Geeky and Kai, thanks for modding. Much appreciated. Jack, you've always been super supportive on it. And I know I'll be in touch with all of you as well, as this channel is definitely not getting shutting down. We're just getting started. Wait till Kai and I get together. It's going to be even better. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you have a great evening. We'll roll out to the transition. 7-3s, as we say in the amateur radio.
Thank you.